Get in a nice comfy space. This is Saturday Night Live Meditation, brought to you by Psychic Horizon Center. I'm Debbie Stillman, and Katie Heldman is here as well. And we thank you for being here. So just find a nice comfy space. Be in a happy place. Be happy with yourself. Show others how it's done. If you be happy with yourself, they'll likely be happy with you too. Have 2 nice deep breaths. And just settle back. Let go of everything you were doing before, everything you plan to do after. And just be in this space now, just being here in this moment. In present time. We're going to continue with our communication with spirit series. And one of the things that tends to be difficult for people to do is to get in that very quiet space where you can actually hear spirit communicate. And part of that just takes practice. Grounding, being quiet. The more you do it, the easier it is. And the deeper in that inner space, or in that trance space, if you prefer, you can go. So we're going to start there tonight. So I'd like you to just close your eyes. Again, just being very relaxed. And we're going to start with a grounding cord. So I'd like you to just, in your mind's eye, see that space at the base of your spine. And you could just put a red X on that space. And then continue to look down past it, all the way down to the center of the earth. And you might say, what does the center of the earth look like? How do I know I'm at the center of the earth? We all see it a little different. And you can just use your intuition to know that you're there. Just set your intention, and you will find your attention is there. And so just mark that spot there at the center of the earth with another red X. And then make a connection between the red X at the center of the earth and the red X that's at the base of your spine. And that connection can look like anything you'd like. It could be a beam of light, or a waterfall, a rope, a tube, about a million other things I don't think of at the moment. But just allow that connection to be. Again, using your intention Energy is very easy to work with. And it's happy to be directed by you. And after you've made that connection between those two X's, you can make sure that it's anchored to the center of the earth on that end. And it might be like a clip, like a seatbelt. It might be a suction cup. It might be a monkey tail. However you fasten it down there is fine. And then just noticing that connection there at the base of your spine, that it's firmly connected to you, to your body. And then allow that grounding cord to expand so it's as big around as your hips. And this grounding cord allows us to release any excess energy, for one thing. If you think about a grounding plug, an electrical plug, if there's a spike in the power, that grounding plug helps ground that out. So you don't have a spike that goes through your electrical wiring and causes problems. It also allows you to release any energy that is kind of churning in your space. If you had maybe all the things that you did earlier today or earlier in the week, you can just release the energy of that down your grounding cord. Anybody else's energy that's in your space can go down your grounding cord. You know, sometimes as simple as doing something like walking down the street and somebody doesn't really like the way you look or the way you're dressed or the way you're behaving or whatever it is. And they might throw some of that kind of disapproval energy at you. Doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean anything about you. It's never about you. It's always about the origin of that energy. But it can get in your space. And have a negative impact. And so that's the kind of stuff that we could just so easily let go in this grounding cord. We have the help of gravity, so that anything that we wish to drop down the grounding cord, gravity gives us a big assist in pulling it down to the center of the earth. And so if you got in an argument with somebody or exchange some unhappy words, maybe you're unhappy with yourself about something that happened or didn't happen, just let all that stuff go down your grounding cord. It doesn't help to have it sit there and kind of churn in your space. It doesn't help you, it doesn't help the other person. So just give yourself permission to release it and let it go. We really are all doing the best we can all the time. Have another nice breath. And just relaxing a little more in your space. As thoughts come up in your mind, you can just let them go. It's like the leaf on the river. Just take that thought, that leaf, and throw it on the river and let it just drift downstream. If it's anything important, I promise you it'll come back. Kind of help quiet the mind. You could pretend that you're in a swimming pool. You know how it is when you're sitting underwater. You can't really hear anything except the water gurgles. Perhaps if you're home alone, that might be a really quiet space. And just to let that your mind get very quiet. And just tell her you're very interested in what I has to say, but not now. In an hour. Get back to me. And put a big soap bubble up in front of your space, out maybe 10 or 12 inches or so out in front of you. And just let it, sometimes we get this energy in our space, it's kind of staticky. It's really the best way I know how to describe it is it's kind of like static. It's kind of like on the edge of your consciousness. And so just let all that kind of energy go into that bubble. Just let anything like that go. Anything that's not in complete affinity with the space that you choose to be in right now. Just let it flow into that bubble. Or down your grounding cord is another option, of course. And as you see that kind of static, unconscious kind of stuff going into that bubble, just take a look and see what it looks like. There's no judgment. No judging yourself for having it. It just happens. We're humans and we live on a planet with a whole bunch of other humans. So just look at it and validate yourself for being able to let it go. You can let that bubble just float up to the sky and burst. And let that energy go back to its origin. Mother Nature is the great recycler. Have another nice deep breath. And if you'd like, you could put a bubble around you. Put a bubble around your space, including that aura space that surrounds your body. So make it a couple feet bigger than your body all the way around. And this can help kind of stay in your space, kind of stay focused, stay tuned inward. Have another nice deep breath. And notice how present you are at this moment in your space. Allow yourself to be completely relaxed. Let your body relax. Let the analyzer turn off. We're not going to do any math tonight. And allow your attention to go a little deeper inward. I'd like you to think of someone that's living in a body on the planet. A friend, perhaps, a relative, perhaps, that you'd like to say hello to spirit hello. And then set your space at a blue-green color. And all you have to do is use your intention. Okay, I'm setting my space at a blue-green color. And boom, you're there. I'd like to see your friend or a relative or whoever you intend to communicate with here in a moment at that same blue-green color. And then send them a hello, a telepathic hello, and listen for a response. And breathe. Now let's try someone else. You can pick a friend, a coworker, a child perhaps, another friend, relative. And let's do the same thing. Again, at that blue-green color that you are, seeing the person that you want to communicate at that same blue-green color. And sending them a hello, or an I love you, or I hope you're well. Whatever initial thought you'd like to communicate. The communication can come in many different ways. Maybe a thought in your head, telepathy. You might hear something. Some people are very clairaudient. You might just know that they heard you or responded or are in some way present with you. You may see them or their response clairvoyantly. And probably all went to different ways that I don't think of right now. I've heard people say, I don't know how I know, but I knew. Okay. When you know, you know. Have another nice deep breath. And just being relaxed. Be a little amused. Have some fun with it. We really do our best spirit communication and our best clairvoyant communication when we're in an amused and enthusiastic space. We tend to want to get very serious as people, but if we can be a little amused, have some fun, have an adventure. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm ready for whatever it is. I'm willing to listen. Okay, have another nice deep breath, at least two. Allow your body to relax a little more. Allow yourself to be a little more amused. I have a plethora of bad jokes to entertain you if you need some assistance. Okay, you talked me into it. I'm going to tell one. Why did the woman refuse to walk past the chicken coop? Because she didn't want to hear their foul language. I can't hear you because you're on mute, but I just know you're all laughing really hard. Okay, let's try another one. This time we're going to communicate with somebody on the other side. Someone that's no longer in a body, but is in spirit. And so decide who you want that to be. Might be a grandparent, a friend, a parent, anybody you'd like. Having your space at that blue-green color. And if you'd like to change it, you're certainly welcome to. And then sending a hello to the person on the other side that you wish to communicate with. And being in that an amused and curious and peaceful place, allowing that response to come to you in whatever way it is communicated. If you're like, oh, I heard him, but I wanted to see him, you got to start someplace, right? You had to learn to walk before you could run. And so, however that communication comes, validating that and nurturing that connection. Being in a place of gratitude, that you're in a place that you can receive it. And that you too can communicate. Notice the difference between communicating with someone who still has a body and is here on the planet as compared to someone that is in spirit. Can complete that communication. And I'd like you to put a big giant soap bubble out in front of you. And I'd like you to let go of any fear of dying. And just let it go into that big soap bubble. Any fear of dying. I almost said buying, whole different thing, right? Any fear of dying. Most of us get a little lit up about that. And then any fear of losing a parent, child, partner, someone close to you like that. Release any fear about not being enough. Also known as judgments, self-judgment about yourself, life. Just let it go into that bubble. And any shame you've been carrying around with you since childhood, just let it go into that bubble. Let that bubble again just float up to the sky. It gets up there pretty far. Just let it explode. Have 2 more nice deep breaths. No cheating, really have to. Now notice your space again. You can be at that nice blue-green color or a different color if you chose something different than that. And then choose someone again, or the same person if you'd like, that you'd like to communicate with on the other side. You can see that person as being in that same blue-green color, or the color that you chose, being the same as the color in your space. And send another hello, or whatever you would like to communicate. You might wish to tell them that you love them. You might wish to tell them that you forgive them. And breathe. And remember, this communication isn't confined to these meditations. I will tell you it tends to be easier in a group like this. It's because of the way we set the energy and set the intention. But with a little practice, you can do the same. You can make a date with the person that you're communicating with to get back together again. Sometimes that date could be on the astral, which is your dream space. Have another nice deep breath. Can finish up that communication. Like I said, you can make a date to get together again if you'd like. There's no time and space and spirit, but they can watch for the clues from you. I'd like you to put a big golden sun over your head. Big, big, giant golden bubble. And in this golden sun, you can put a magnet in it and just use that magnet to call back all your energy from any place you may have left it. Anywhere, anyone, anything. Or anytime. If there's energy stuck in the past or out in the future, just call it all back to you into that golden sun. Put some validation in your golden sun for your ability to communicate with spirit. Even if you didn't feel like you did, you did. You reached out. You may or may not have been aware of a response. And if you didn't, just know, with a little practice, you will become aware of it. Sometimes funny little things happen after the fact. A few years ago, it's kind of a long story, but a few years ago, my uncle died, and I had bought this Christo piece for myself, and I bought one for him at the same time. And the morning that he died, before I even knew that he had passed, I got up that morning and put my robe on and found my version of that in the pocket of my robe. I hadn't touched it in several weeks, and I know he put it there. Sometimes we get little signs afterwards. Call into that golden sun, whatever else you'd like to have. What kind of energy would you like to have in your space for the rest of the evening? A little joy, a little happiness, some amusement, whatever you would like. It's all up to you. And just call it all into that big golden sun. Just let it flow in there and flood in there and be filled with all that goodness. And when you're ready, you can just pop that gold sun and let that energy from it flow into your body right through the top of your head. Allowing it to flow all the way in, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Filling your physical body in completely from head to toe. Giving to yourself, nurturing yourself, providing some of this fresh new life force energy for every single cell in your body. Let every single cell have some of this new, fresh life force energy. And let it flow all the way out so it completely fills in that bubble that we created in the beginning around yourself. And just feel the goodness of that. The peace, the nurturing, kindness. And after you've completely filled in, you might want to stretch. You might want to take a nap. Whatever you'd like to do. I just wanted to tell everybody that our beginning classes start again a week from Monday on the 29th. We have morning and evening classes. If you're interested, please check out our website, Psychic Horizons Center.